What is up, guys? Wrestling Premiere is here. Another pay-per-view has come and gone. This one in particular was pretty good. I haven't been watching Raw or Smackdown recently as I stick to pay-per-views because if I consistently watch the weekly shows, I'll probably quit watching once again. I heard SmackDown's doing pretty well, and I might dive into that eventually, but yes. This show delivered despite the fact that 2 matches were essentially cancelled. For some reason, Nikki Cross didn't challenge for the SmackDown Women's title, and the Women's Tag titles weren't defended. But the event was mostly good. A couple of matches delivered. There was filler here and there, but for the most part, yeah, it was enjoyable. Now, before this video starts, I just gotta say that the next video is on The Undertaker's title reign. It's his final title reign. I just got it done. It'll be the next video guarantee. Following that, though, I think I might have to go away for a couple of days. I'm gonna have to work on a certain video. It's gonna be long as hell. That's one thing for sure. But yes, I have to get it done, I think, this week. So if I'm away, I'm working. The video will probably be uploaded, hopefully, later this week. I'm going to try to make it different from every video. I'm going to try to make it the best damn video I ever upload on this channel. So yeah, right now, let's get into it. The first match on the pre-show was for the Smackdown Tag Team Championships. Lucha House Party challenged Cesaro and Shinsuke Nakamura for the titles. Honestly, this match wasn't bad, and it wouldn't have been out of place had it occurred on the main show, and I believe it was initially going to. But yes, this match, enjoyable. Cesaro slowly becoming a tag team legend of sorts. Like, it's low-key under the radar. This is his 5th title reign, I believe. And yeah, like, if he ever goes into the Hall of Fame, expect it to be because of his tag team career. He's had a great tag team career. He's a tag team specialist. Obviously, many, including myself, wish he was higher on the card, perhaps in a singles role. But hey, this is better than nothing. As for the match itself, the heels were obviously aggressive in their game plan. Kalisto and Dorado were relying on high-flying moves as expected, but it took them a while to get any sort of sustainable offense. Cesaro and Nakamura isolated Dorado for a bit before Kalisto got the hot tag. He picked up the pace and Lucha House Party flew around. They were finally on the offense, and at this point, I felt like the guys actually had a chance to win it. I just had this feeling inside that maybe, just maybe, it could be their night. Unfortunately for them, the formidable duo of Cesaro and Shinsuke proved to be too much. They were just too aggressive. That swing into the kick was awesome. I love that move. It looks mean as hell. Overall, a good match. I felt they deserved to be on the main card, but hey, it's better than nothing. Okay, on to the show now. The first official match on the card was for the Intercontinental Championship. Jeff Hardy and Sami Zayn put up their titles in a ladder match against AJ Styles. Winner take all. By the way, Jeff is the official champion. Sami Zayn, he only had the old title in possession. It wasn't like he was the actual champion. He claimed he was the actual champion, though, so there's that. Heading into the pay-per-view, this was the match everybody had high hopes for. It delivered and then some. I remember the moment Sami Zayn entered the ring, I thought to myself, how do you innovate the ladder match? And something that's very hard to pull off. Like, every couple of years, there's that standout ladder match. In WWE, it's this one. No exaggeration. About the match, damn. It feels like Jeff Hardy enjoys doing these spots. I can't say he doesn't. Every match, every ladder match, every special match, he's out there doing the most ridiculous things. It doesn't matter if it's tables, chamber, ladder, cell. He's always out there pulling out stuff like this for the fans' enjoyment. Sami Zayn was smart. He was intelligent. He had a game plan and utilized it. All of the guys endured pain, and it's not like Jeff was the only one. He did probably feel the most pain out of all of the guys, though. He jumped straight into this ladder. There was Sami Zayn bouncing off ladders. And the match itself had a different feeling to the others that preceded it for some reason. They were creative with the spots, and the part that got me was when AJ Styles chucked that ladder into Sami Zayn. I think that was the moment they picked up the pace. Jeff sacrificed himself to prevent AJ from retrieving the gold. Then AJ tried going for the phenomenal forearm, but Jeff was well aware of his intentions and pushed the ladder into his face. Then this part. What is he doing? What is Jeff doing here? I don't know. AJ was doing stuff like this, and Sammy, well, he got a swanton from the top of a ladder. Jeff, he's 43 years old, yet he's still pulling off stuff like this. Mad. Ridiculous amount of respect. Add to this, Sami Zayn executed one of the most creative tactics in a while. He brought out some handcuffs and inserted the cuffs in one of Jeff's earlobes and the other to a ladder. The Great Liberator tried doing the same to AJ, but he failed before opting to handcuff himself to the Phenomenal One. This gave way to a very bizarre visual. First of all, AJ was stuck with Sammy, right? Because he handcuffed himself. Second, Jeff had a ladder hanging from his ear, and he's trying to figure out how to pull it out. When Zayn suddenly reveals that he has a key this entire time. He frees himself, but he handcuffs Styles to the ladder. Zayn then retrieves the belts, and the match, well, it received a much-deserved creative conclusion. Honestly, This ladder match was one of the very best in a while. I hoped it would be different to the others, and that's exactly what happened. And in that moment, I felt the show peaked. I didn't try to expect any of the matches to surpass the pure classic that we just witnessed. And in my opinion, it's in my top 5 WWE matches of 2020. That's for sure. 2020, this is in the top 5. All 3 guys put in work. Sami Zayn had the battle wounds. AJ was doing some weird stuff too. And Jeff Hardy, he was doing insane stuff in general. So yes, really enjoyable. And I can't wait to see where the Intercontinental title goes from here on. Backstage, R-Truth was hanging out with Little Jimmy when Drew Gulak from out of nowhere stole the 24/7 title. Anyways, the next match saw Zelina Vega challenge for the Raw Women's Championship. Now you're wondering, how did Zelina get a title shot? You probably know. She beat Mickie James in a #1 contenders match. Vega had just broken free from Andrade and Garza, and she wanted to prove something. The match itself, there was grappling in the beginning. Asuka nearly locked in an armbar. She made a mistake and Vega capitalized. She realized that the left arm could be worked on, and that's exactly what she did. Vega actually had the advantage at one point, and she almost had Asuka in a hold, but a smooth transition into the Asuka lock proved to be the decider. I personally love that transition. It seemed like Vega made one mistake, and Asuka capitalized. Vega tapped out after literally 2 seconds, and it showed that Asuka was this fighting champion that could beat just about anyone. The match itself, it wasn't bad. I didn't expect much for some reason. I didn't think it would be competitive. I think everyone knew she wasn't winning, but it also made this match feel like it was filler. Asuka, she's just going to go through her and on to the next challenger. That's what it felt like, but I guess they're going to continue with this feud because after the match, Zelina showed respect to Asuka before attacking. So basically, this thing is going to continue, and I just wonder who's going to face Asuka after this. She beat many of the women that challenged, so who's next? That's what I wonder. The next match saw Apollo Crews challenge Bobby Lashley for the United States Championship. I don't know why, but throughout the match, I had a feeling Ricochet was turning. Match itself, I felt it didn't click. Why? Well, I feel like it didn't have the fury of the previous match. It felt like Apollo had even more urgency to win it the last time around rather than this match. I don't know, though. Maybe it's just in my mind, but I felt like it was a step below the Payback match. That's what I'm trying to say. It wasn't even bad. Lashley was all about the power, and he ended up retaining the title by forcing Apollo to tap out to the Hurt Lock. The Hurt Business continued to dominate, and I can't wait to see what the future has in store for them, especially Cedric Alexander, who MVP said he's got some plans for him. I wonder what those plans are. I also hope Apollo manages to hang on there in the mid-card. I thought his presence throughout the year was fresh. The next match is for the Raw Tag Team Championships. Andrade and Angel Garza challenged the Street Profits for the titles. I feel the Street Profits are only holding the titles due to the fact that nobody on Raw could hold them. I mean, they got the Viking Raiders, but Ivar's injured. There's this team, I guess, but other than that, what other tag teams are there on Raw other than these two? Not many. Now, the match itself, I prefer it to the SummerSlam match, but the bar isn't exactly high. I can't explain why I like this over SummerSlam, but throughout the match, I had a better feeling about it. As expected, Ford got punished and Dawkins got tagged in. At some moments, though, I felt like it could be Andrade and Garza's night. And as the match was starting to get hot, it was starting to build up. It ended abruptly with a botchy finish. I was confused initially. I thought Garza rung the bell and fooled the ref and the Street Profits, but it clearly wasn't the case. The finish was outright bad because Andrade got screwed over once again. But you have to realize why it ended like it did. Apparently, Angel Garza suffered either a leg injury or a hip injury, and that's why it ended like that. I mean, none of the guys in the match expected it to end. Andrade kicked out. It was a weird finish that kind of ruined the match. Either way, Raw's really lacking in the tag team division, but I hope all is well with Garza. It would be a shame if he's sidelined because he's having this thing with Andrade, and who knows, maybe they were going to win the titles eventually. Backstage, as Drew Gulak was sending his condolences to Akira Tozawa, who was eaten by a shark on Raw, R-Truth from out of nowhere catches Gulak off guard to win the 24/7 championship. By the way, wasn't Gulak in the IC title picture? The next match saw Bayley defend the Smackdown Women's Championship. Since Nikki Cross was unable to compete, Bayley decided to challenge anyone from the bag to accept the title match. After 2 seconds, Bayley closed shop, and it was at this moment Asuka came out. Bayley had no other choice but to go through with the match since every title must be defended. Now, their last match at SummerSlam was pretty good, but this one, it never really got going because Bayley wasn't even there to defend the title, really. I mean, it was worthwhile for the time they were given. Asuka was firing on all cylinders. She really had a great year, and whenever she's in there with the right opponent, she has some awesome matches. This match, though, it was different. Bayley got herself disqualified by using a chair. meaning she's still champion. Out of nowhere, Sasha Banks blasts her with a chair, returning the favor. Since Sasha was out for 2 weeks, this was a return. The attack initially didn't work in Sasha's favor because Bayley took advantage of the injuries. The weapons that Bayley brought in would be her wrongdoing, and Sasha took advantage, whacking Bayley with the kendo stick. She retreated, and Sasha was vulnerable, yet a threat at the same time. Like, it makes sense. She's hurting, yet she wants to inflict damage on her ex-friend. Now, I personally can't wait for that match. It's definitely going to be something. It's been built up for several months, hell, maybe years. But yeah, this wasn't really about the match. It added to the story of Bayley and Sasha, as it should be. I did think Naomi was going to answer the challenge, though, and maybe they could have had a decent match together, Bayley and Naomi. But whatever. This added to the Sasha and Bayley story, so it makes sense it ended like this. The next match was for the WWE Championship. Drew McIntyre defends against Randy Orton in an ambulance match. Okay, Randy Orton has had a monstrous year. It seemed like he really wants to accomplish something. Like, over the past couple of years, he didn't have the intensity, the urgency of this run. One thing to mention is that ambulance matches don't tend to be memorable, but we'll see about this one. As for Drew, if the title reign was to end here, it was memorable. It's just a shame that it went down during this year, but nonetheless, he's an established star at this point. Right out of the gate, Drew brought the fight. His intensity was withstood by the Viper, who managed to connect with that second rope DDT. Just when he was going for the punt, the Big Show returned and chokeslammed Orton through the table. Honestly, when Big Show returned, I was laughing. Like, they use him for just about everything. But for this match, I think it made sense because Orton already had an issue with him, and it's continuity. Drew had a vindictive smile on his face, and he began punishing the challenger. The ambulance was conveniently filled with weapons for Drew, and Samoa Joe was going crazy on commentary, which I should mention was awesome. Unlike Michael Cole, who was shouting about the ladder match, and it was more annoying rather than passionate. Randy used this to his advantage and drove that steel chair into the fractured jaw of Drew McIntyre's. Both men brawled inside the ambulance, and at one point Drew claymored the damn door. This caused problems to his leg, and despite this, he was on the offense. They fought in the back for a bit, and then Christian from out of nowhere attacked Randy Orton. I personally thought it was Retribution, who I might add didn't even appear at the event, which is confusing, because wouldn't they want the most publicity, like pay-per-views? Like, people watch the pay-per-views, that's where things happen. They should have interfered in something. But whatever, I'm kind of glad they didn't appear, but yeah. Once he recovered, Orton fought back and bounced Drew's head off the damn windshield. Drew had the battle wounds, and they fought atop the ambulance. Both men were spent at this point, and Orton was clearly in the driver's seat. But all of a sudden, Shawn Michaels super kicked the hell out of Orton and sent him off the ambulance. Despite this, Orton bounced back and RKO'd McIntyre on the concrete floor. He sent him into the ambulance, closed one door, but McIntyre used his strength and dubious tactics. Orton did the same to escape. He then hit the Claymore and opted not to close the doors. Instead, Drew went for a weird-looking punt, then closes the doors to retain his title. Damn, Drew's a badass. Can't say anything else. And there's Ric Flair, who was taking the ambulance down to the hospital, I guess. Overall, the match initially felt slow to me, but they picked up the pace. The Legends appearances were cool, and I sort of expected Edge to come out, but that wasn't the case. They did a good job of the storytelling because Randy actually had the title on a couple of occasions, but his past caught up to him, and that's what cost him in the end. I think the feuds over in the match is one of the best ambulance matches, perhaps the best WWE ever had. I might be forgetting a match, but yes, it was one of the better ones. Randy Orton, I think he's going to go away for a while because who the hell is going to feud with him on Raw? I don't think there's many that could feud with Orton on Raw. Maybe Kevin Owens would be one. But yeah, I think he's going on hiatus, and who knows, we might see him on Smackdown next time around. Overall story is Orton's past caught up to him. Some people like this, some people don't. I personally liked it. Doesn't matter if you don't. It's your opinion. But yes, I enjoyed it because it provided continuity. And the main event, Roman Reigns defends the Universal Championship against his cousin, Jay Uso. Okay, this is a very welcomed story. Jay from out of nowhere emerges as a contender for the gold. They've built him up very well for the match, and it's not like I expect him to win, but the storytelling for the match, pure fire, amazing, tremendous. Jay finally gets to show what he's made of. Meanwhile, Roman, he's finally got a new look. He's a full-on bad guy now, and it's awesome. Right when the bell rang, the intensity was off the charts. Jay was playing a little mind games. He took a breather. He delivered some rights, but Roman welcomed him to the main event scene. It seemed like Roman didn't want to hurt Uso, but since he was kicking out, he was clearly asking for it. He whooped his ass. He told the commentary team he loves Jay. and in his eyes, it was essentially a squash. Jay did have a moment where he burst out, showing that maybe he's able to hang in there with a big dog, but he was brought back to earth when Roman hit the wretched Superman punch. Jay was a little in over his head. He was resilient. He was delivering rights that didn't faze Roman at all, and it seemed like he was fighting Thanos or something. Roman mentioned how he asked Jay to just take the payday. He didn't want to hurt his cousin, but if he wants it, he'll give it to him. At one point, though, Jay managed to catch Roman off guard. He went for the suicide dive twice, and he was finally on the offense for the first time in the match. Like, at some points, he was on the offense, but this is the first time he's outright in control. Inside the ring, he went for a crossbody. The crowd started to get louder. Paul Heyman was getting paranoid, but Roman pulled out something. Jay then had another burst of momentum, and Michael Cole was shouting. Jay hit that splash, but Roman kicked out once again. And it was at this moment where Roman had a smile on his face. This smile was like, oh, he's dead. That's it. Jay R.I.P. Once he got up, boom, Roman hit that spear. He didn't think it was enough, though, and this is where storytelling plays a crucial part in making this match a memorable bout. Roman didn't think that spear was enough, no. He thought that he should inflict more punishment on Jay, who was clearly asking for it by not giving up. He refused to quit. He refused to acknowledge Roman as the chief. He refused and ran into another spear. Roman pulled him in front of a camera and asked once again, "Acknowledge me as your chief." Didn't work out. Paul tried acknowledging Reigns, but he wasn't having it. He didn't want Paul to acknowledge him. He wanted Jay to say Roman is chief. The champion went ballistic. He delivered several rights. He threatened Charles Robinson, stating that he could get him fired, and Reigns continued to ask him to just say it. Jimmy Uso then on one knee came out and he was ready to throw in the towel. It was a very volatile moment that could explode at any minute. Roman wasn't backing down. Jay refused to give up, and Jimmy, well, he had to throw in the towel and acknowledge Roman as the chief to end the match. Why didn't we get this Roman Reigns in 2015? Like, come on. He wants to hurt people. He wants people to know that he's straight up better than them. And look what he did to his cousin. That's what the commentary team were saying. Like, if he could do this to his cousin, what is he going to do to someone who's not even related to him? I didn't think that ladder match would be topped, and it wasn't topped, to be honest, in my eyes. But this match almost got there. Like, the storytelling of this one, it was something that was severely lacking from WWE up until recently. Like, storytelling is something WWE doesn't do that often, but when they do, it's awesome. Like, look at this. I expected it to be a massacre, and it sort of was. But the way they built it up, the moments leading up to it, tremendous. And the towel thing, flashbacks to Survivor Series 94 with that one. It reminded me of that Undisputed Era and Trent 7 match. That one was a classic. It reminded me of a bunch of stuff. But yes, overall, the storytelling of this one was tremendous. Reigns, he just wants to inflict damage. He came back with a vengeance, and that's what he's doing. It doesn't matter if it's his cousin. Hell, if he was in there with another family member, he would have done the exact same thing. So yeah, this one, I think this will be a memorable match years from now, in my opinion. Overall, Clash of Champions, there was some filler there between the first and the last matches, but for the most part, the show was enjoyable. The matches that I expected to deliver, delivered. The ladder match is my favorite match, one of my favorite matches of 2020. The Drew McIntyre and Randy match was pretty good in my eyes. I thought it was entertaining, and the main event, tremendous storytelling in my eyes. Jay couldn't hang in there with Reigns. It was simple, yet effective at the same time, so yeah. My favorite match, ladder match. Like I said, Roman, I can't wait to see where he goes from here on. Who knows? He might even destroy the Fiend by the looks of it. So yeah, that's the first video. Make sure you hit an RKO on the like button and perhaps a spear on the subscribe button. Peace. I'm out.